Greetings, my excellent friends. The Dead Monk welcomes you to Purgatory. It's now time to talk about Good Omens Episode 2. Before we go through and spoil the whole episode, well, let me just say that I really like this episode. Maybe more than the first one. It introduces a whole lot of new characters. Like them all. Well, almost all. Advances the story a bit, and yeah, really liked it. Like I said on the first episode, this show very much has a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy Douglas Adams vibe. If you like that kind of stuff and you're interested in a show about angels, demons, the Antichrist, Armageddon, witches, well then, give it a shot. After watching the second episode, can't wait to watch the third. I'm going to do that soon. Try and do it the next couple days, make a review on that one. But yeah, it's great. So, what happens in this episode? Spoiler time. We fast forward a little bit from the last episode, a couple days later, we now have 2 days before Armageddon. And the first thing we do is we check in on Aziraphale and Crowley. Aziraphale gets visited by a couple angels, Gabriel and... I don't remember the other one's name. They check in on him, ask him how everything's going with the Antichrist. He says, oh yeah, everything's great, even though they've lost him, they don't know where he is. But he says, oh yeah, everything's great. And then we basically have the same thing with Crowley. We look in on him, a couple demons call him on Skype basically, and same thing. How's it going? How's the child? Is he evil? Yeah, everything's great. And the last thing one of the demons says to him before the call ends, he says, something, and then, we are the fallen. Fallen angels, the demons. As soon as the call is over, Crowley says, I didn't mean to fall, I was just hanging out with the wrong people. And that made me think, is this whole thing a redemption story for Crowley? I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. We'll see. Oh, but one thing that came up when Gabriel was meeting Aziraphale, I don't remember if it also came up with the demons. Well, Gabriel mentioned the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. And we get to meet our first horseman, War. War is the only one that shows up in this episode, so I wonder if we're going to see one of the 4 horsemen in each of the next 3 episodes, plus War in this one. But then at that point we have all 4 horsemen, but there's only 1 episode left. I don't know. We'll see. So we go somewhere in North Africa. There's a peace treaty being signed by 3 different factions. And this is when War shows up. Well, what does War do? Well, you may guess it. She causes war. A postal delivery person shows up and gives her a box. In it is a sword. She waves it around and then says, I'll see you all later. As soon as she walks away, well, they all shoot each other. And now we're back to War. Alright, so we have our first horseman of the apocalypse. Although this is all we see of her in this episode. I'm sure we'll see more later. Well, after we're done with War, well now we go back a few hundred years, we're back to 1656, and we look in on Lancashire. We're introduced to Witchfinder Major Thou Shalt Not Commit Adultery, Pulsifer. He shows up in town for the burning of the witch Agnes Nutter. She was mentioned in the first episode, at least her name was, I don't remember, they may have just mentioned her name in regards to her book, but we'll get to that. Agnes Nutter, she's accused of being a witch, they're going to burn her at the stake, and things don't go well. There's a big explosion. The whole crowd looks like they're dead. Now, she left behind a book for her daughter and son-in-law. Her book is called The Nice and Accurate Prophecies of Agnes Nutter. Her daughter opens up the book and turns to one of the prophecies. Let's see, it's prophecy 2214. In December of 1980, an apple will arise that no man can eat. Invest thy money in Master Job's machine, and good fortune will good fortune will tend thy days. And when I saw that, my response was, what, no love for the wars? It's 1980, what about Wozniak? Give the walls some love. Anyway, they have no idea what these prophecies mean, but her book's very important. Back to the near present, we go to the same night the Antichrist and also Warlock were born. Well, Adam and Warlock. We check in the States, and we meet Anathema. At this point, she's a child, but she is the great, however many great-granddaughter of Agnes Nutter. They live in this very nice-looking house in Malibu. Well, prophecies have made them rich. But she's reading the book, and this is when her mother explains to her that she's meant to save the world. The whole family line has just had to use the prophecies, keep the family safe, keep them well off, until now it's up to Anathema. She must save the world. We also at the same time meet not only Agnes Nutter's descendant, but also Witchfinder Major Thou Shalt Not Commit Adultery Pulsifer's descendant. He's about the same age. And we see for the first time that, well, has a problem with, I'm not sure if it's computers or electricity. Yeah, he's trying to fix a computer and it just blows up. Like I said, I'm not sure if it's just because it was a computer specifically, or maybe it's all electricity. Anyway, now we jump ahead. We're back to where we were at the start of the episode, 2 days before Armageddon. We see the same Pulsifer. Let's see, his name's Newton Pulsifer. He's now an adult. He's going off to a new job. He gets to the new job. Looks like he's doing some sort of accountancy. But as soon as he tries typing on the computer, well, the whole office loses electricity and, yeah, he's done. So this is why I said I don't know if it's specifically computers that he has trouble with, or if it's anything electronics or anything electric. I'm sure this is going to be important in a future episode, but this is the last we see of that for now. I don't recall his using a cell phone in the episode, so yeah. I don't know. We'll find out later whether it's just computers or more stuff. Alright, so after he loses his brand new job, well, he's just walking around and you see what looks like a crazy person, the end is nigh, has a sign, the end of the world is coming. So this crazy man's shouting, hey, you know what's going to bring on the end of the world, and there's something. And Newton Pulsifer stops and talks to him. Well, it turns out this guy's a witchfinder. There aren't that many of them left, but he is a witchfinder. He is Sergeant Shadwell. Shadwell asks him how many nipples he has. Says he has only 2, and then Shadwell invites him to come see him the next day. Says, hey, come become a witchfinder. Well, he did recognize the name Pulsifer. Alright, and this is also when Anathema arrives in town. She's on the trail trying to track down the Antichrist, and I think she's supposed to destroy him before he causes the end of the world. Okay, right after that, we go back to Aziraphale and Crowley. Aziraphale has an idea. He says, well, we've been looking after this boy for 11 years. He was the wrong boy. That wasn't the Antichrist. So, could something have happened when you handed off the baby to those satanic nuns? Could something have happened then? Why they didn't think of this for a couple days, who knows, but whatever. Alright, so the two of them, they go off to that hospital, and it had burned down, well, or at least had burned a lot in the first episode, 11 years ago. It's been repaired now, but it's not a hospital anymore. There are people playing paintball. So now it's some sort of little retreat. I don't recall exactly what. Company doing some sort of activity for team building and whatever. And it turns out it's the same company that Pulsifer went to go work for and fired all in the same day. Although, I don't think that matters. Now, one of the nuns, the one that basically screwed everything up 11 years ago, well, she's still around. She's now running this thing. She's not a nun anymore. They find her, ask her some questions. What happened to the baby? Do you have records? Yeah, we kept great records, but they all burned. So yeah, they don't get a whole lot of information. I think there might have been one little clue they got. But yeah, didn't learn a whole lot. While they're doing that, Anathema, she's out there with a little pendulum, trying to hone in on the Antichrist. Not having any luck. Or at least it seems like she's not having any luck. Well, this is when she runs into Adam and his friends. Oh, and a little before that, we got to know Adam and his friends a little bit more. Yeah, they're typical children. And one of them, he's kind of annoying. He's quite pedantic. But other than that, yeah, they're children. Well, they run into Anathema. They're out playing British Inquisition, trying to hunt down witches. She talks to them a bit, has no idea she's talking to the very person she's looking for. And then she goes off and lets them keep playing. It gets dark, she's on her bike riding back to the place where she's staying. And this is as Crowley and Aziraphale are coming back from the hospital. And Crowley hits her with his car. They get out, Aziraphale heals her broken bones, fixes her bike, and they give her a ride back into town. However, when she gets out of the car, she doesn't realize she accidentally left behind the nice and accurate prophecies of Agnes Nutter. Not long after they leave, though, she's on Skype with her mother back in the States and realizes the book's missing. Runs outside, oh no, they're gone. What's she gonna do now? But this is the last we see of her for the episode. I'm sure we'll see plenty more of her later on. Crowley and Aziraphale, they get back to Aziraphale's bookstore. Aziraphale gets out and says, one of them notices the book there. He looks, picks it up, realizes what it is, and now is suddenly acting very coy. Says goodbye to Crowley, goes into his shop, and we learn that he loves books on prophecy, he has all sorts of them, but this is one he's missing. Oh, and not telling Crowley about the book right away, I don't know if he doesn't really... of course he doesn't trust Crowley completely, he is a demon, and Aziraphale's an angel, but up until this point he seems to be honest with him. Now he's hiding something from him. So, yeah, I don't know where we're going to go with that. Anyway, he opens up the book to a prophecy. It says something about angel when you read this. Something, your cocoa's getting cold. And he looks to the side and he has a cup of cocoa. It's getting cold. He freaks out, oh my, these prophecies must be true. He spends all night reading through the book. In the morning, Crowley calls him up, asks him if he's made any progress, is there any news. Aziraphale lies to him, doesn't say anything about the book, and after he quickly ends his call from Crowley, reads another prophecy and it says something about the number of the beast, and he thinks, wait, this couldn't be as simple as a phone number, could it? Well, he dials up a number and it just happens to be the residence of one Adam Young, the Antichrist. As Aziraphale's eyes go wide, he has found the residence of the real boy they're looking for, and that's where our episode ends. Alright, so as I said at the start, I really enjoyed this episode. As I said, lots of new characters. Young Pulsifer, yeah, maybe he'll be cool. He was just kind of, there. Yeah, I'm sure he'll be good later. Nothing bad about him, just Anathema, she seems really cool. Can't wait for more of her. Well, I say young Pulsifer, he's okay. I think it's just that he's outshined by Sergeant Shadwell, who's played by Michael McKean. I'm sure Pulsifer will get his chance to shine later. So yeah, like all the new characters. A lot more British humour, like I said, very Hitchhiker. So yeah, 2 episodes down, 4 more to go. I can't wait for the next one. So, what do I love most about the show so far? Certainly, as I said, the whole tone of it, very Douglas Adams, love that. But the biggest thing that stands out has to be the chemistry between Aziraphale and Crowley. They do great together. Certainly that's because Tennant and Sheen are just great at what they're doing. You can really feel the evil in Tennant playing Crowley. You can just feel that unbridled optimism and good from Sheen, from Aziraphale. They do really well in their roles. John Hamm really sells Gabriel quite well as well. He hasn't been in it a lot yet, but yeah, he stands out too. As I said, Anathema, love her. She hasn't had enough to do yet, but can't wait to see more, especially when she has to cross paths with Pulsifer. I'm anticipating that moment. And yeah, I think that's it for episode 2. Like I said, really looking forward to episode 3, so I'll see you when we do that one. Until then, all I can say is be excellent to each other. Farewell. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it and would like to encourage me to make more, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks again. A bientôt.